All right, welcome to the third game of the evening. First impressions of the evening as well.
And I think of the season.
In Yes, that is actually correct. Took a bit of time to get to one of the early access set, but here we are now with Veterum, um, turn-based tactical strategy with a detailed combat system and interactive environment. Explore the open world, complete quests, search for rare artifacts, lead the last army of the Order of the Gatekeepers, and stop the incoming chaos. Yes, apparently this is part of a franchise called Mastermind Strategy. I'm not sure if that's an actual franchise or if that's just something Steam is grouping together.
Mm.
Like, looks like it's something that Steam is grouping together more than like actual thematic links. Regardless, so this game was assigned to the Golux for Impression Hood. Over to him for what he thought of this game.
So this is, in many ways, a fairly typical top-down. This is a hex-based turn-based strategy game, which is at least somewhat novel. You play as one character. You decide you pick a specialization for him, and then you get a bunch of guys who, like, design-wise, are interchangeable, and each one, I think each one can have like a series of quirks, and they gain unit experience, so they'll be leveled up differently. You choose what to level up on them, at least, and you can hire more and dismiss them or whatever at almost any time. But I don't know, like, if that's like, it's not recommended. You start with 6, your guy and 5 other guys. And apparently you can deploy up to 16, although I never got that because traveling between like map nodes in the overworld takes a day, and your units have a salary that gets charged every time you move. Uh and you don't really do, like, your income seemed to be mostly. I will be honest, I played like through a very little bit of this, and then my team got wiped out by a swarm of spiders, and I like could have continued, but I would have had like a group of extremely unhealthy guys, a small number of them, negative money, and other problems, so I decided to just not play anymore. It has a very like detailed combat system, and there's a lot of customizability. You can turn it so that by default, the equal attack and evasion stats is success rate is 50%, but you can literally change that to anything from like 70. You can change it a lot. There's a thing where the action system is on action points, where your units start out with 5. There is a way to get more of them, but it's not very accessible early on. And like attacking takes 3, moving a square takes 1, doing a ranged attack generally takes 4, and there are like field interactions and skills and stuff that take different numbers, usually 4 or 2. There's a thing that's turned on by default that if I played again I would turn off, that makes moving out of an opponent's like adjacent squares take like 3 points, I think, instead of just 2, which is really annoying because your units can't move through each other. Your archers can shoot over each other, but it makes it harder for them to hit things, which makes sense, but like annoying.
Right.
So yeah, and there are some guys that can hit more than one square. There are like necromancers that can summon zombies and shit. Honestly, I did not recruit too many people because most of the people were expensive, and I kept trying to wait for there to be a more reliable way of getting money, and it never happened. You can, on most screens, you can only access your inventory, or on most map nodes, on the overworld, you can only access your inventory. But on towns, you can hire new people. You can, oh yeah, you can look at your people, and you can spend experience on any square. You have to be in a town to hire new people, buy stuff, and when you're in a town, you can donate money to the town to raise your affinity with the town, which is needed to hire better people in the town. Missions, you can see on a map node that there's a mission in a location because there's a scroll thingy above the area on the map. If you do those, you generally get money. Some of the missions involve going to a specific place and either just being there or going to a specific place and fighting something. But yeah, and then sometimes you will get randomly, like, things will happen that will give you a new quest too. I don't know how much there is of a like story versus just kind of
Things are happening.
exploring around. Like the setup, I expected a little bit more of a linear plot than I ever got, but again, I did not get super far before I got I had a team of like 8 guys, and I got into a fight with 11 spiders, of which like 4 were extra large. And yeah, I wiped out. And there's one of the things you can change is the default chance for one of your characters to survive. It's also part of the difficulty. I went on normal because I wanted to see. I knew I didn't have a lot of time, and this is a slow genre, so I wanted to see what the like intended gameplay experience was. I think in general, because ultimately a lot of the mechanics are like, there's a lot of stuff to pay attention to, especially in terms of positioning and like what kind of terrain stuff is. There are a lot of obstacles that you can't move through on most maps, even if it's like a tree or something, and sometimes or a bush, and it's not always super obvious which ones you can and which ones you can't, which I'm not. It's acceptable, but it's like another thing to pay attention to, and I probably would have preferred to play with the difficulty turned down a little bit so I could focus more on that and less on worrying about the extent to which my guys were going to die. You know? You do at least generally heal between battles, but you can also, like, get sick and then your guy will just kind of suck for a while. One of the things you can buy in town is equipment that I never figured out how to actually equip that. I think you probably just use it on a guy, but I was never 100% sure on that, and I only ever got one because most of them were quite expensive, and again, I never had much money because I was worried about my guys having salaries. So yeah, there's a lot to keep an eye on. The mechanics, I think they seem mostly solid. It was just a little bit much for me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. There's there was some voice acting, if I remember correctly. The music is nothing special. The sound effects are nothing great. The spider sound effect was kind of annoying, but that was emphasized by the fact that I was fucking dying.
So I guess something to note with this game is it doesn't like ultra wides. I'm clicking on buttons and buttons aren't
It doesn't
working.
like ultra wides. When I was turning it on and trying to get into the menu, whenever I went into the menu, it bumped the thing back to the monitor and position
Yeah.
that it started on, which was not great. When additionally, I had resized it, and my monitors are not the same size,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to quit the game because it was the wrong size to be able to like get to any of the actual controls.
Right. For me, it's like I'm clicking on the buttons, but I guess the box to let the game know that you're clicking on it isn't lined up with the button.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, again,
There was just
early access.
overall, I found it kind of clunky with
Right.
the controls and stuff. That is kind of my overall impression.
And it's early access, so hopefully they can sort that out. But
Yeah, I have no idea how. It seemed like it was fairly far along based on
I think they
what I was
had.
reading, but
I think they had something about a roadmap.
mhm.
Yes.
This is saying it is leaving early access September 7th.
So yeah, it's pretty close.
I guess the real question is if this how late of a version is available out here. If this is the release
Well,
candidate, it's got some problems.
it's not.
All right.
It's version 0.9.8.5.
Mhm.
Oh,
Which is a series
also,
of numbers that I know. I understand that I know how many like times that means it's been modified, but like you can go to version 9.99 whatever.
You
the overall thing is it's close, but not a cigar. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Also, there is an AI generated content disclaimer here. Unfortunately, this
Oh.
game is using AI based translation for localization into foreign languages. I'm not sure if that's an AI feature for early access or if that's something that's going to remain there after 1.0. But
Hmm.
if you are playing the Chinese, German, French, or Portuguese translation, that's AI.
mm,
And there is
Get
kind of a
some
lot of like text for story stuff in this.
yeah.
yeah,
Like whenever there's a story thing, there's quite a bit of text to go with it.
We are not speakers or readers of any of those languages, so we can't really tell you if they are accurate or not.
Yeah,
So
I can't speak for the quality of
well,
the translation, and neither can the people who made the game.
yeah, yeah. Fix this.
yeah.
But yeah, the gameplay, like as a strategy RPG, I think there's a lot there, and I appreciate that it's highly customizable, even if I didn't have the play time to actually go in and customize it as much as
Mhm.
I would have. It's good that the option is there. So yeah, that's more or less where I am at that.
Yeah, this is another one of those games like summer of high school or whatnot. Probably would have been more interested in.
Yeah, it definitely and it seems like mostly like an older generation of game too to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
which
Like
is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing
yeah,
either.
it's only really a good thing if that's the generation you prefer to play. Like,
Hmm.
because there are definitely more quote unquote modern versions of this type of game with a lot more creature comfort. But I know
Hmm.
people who like the older versions don't like the newer creature
And like
comfort.
there are a lot of crunchy stats for people whose brains can handle a whole screen full of stats that are mostly
Mhm.
indicated by icons that you have to roll over specifically to see what they do.
Right.
So yeah, that is mostly what I have for this. Adam, what are they charging for it?
Currently $20. And also, there is a notification here that there will be a slight price increase to either reflect volume of content or quality of the final version. So when it gets 1.0, it will go up in price.
Mhm.
I don't know if I would pay that amount, but I don't think it's like totally unfair.
Yeah, if you're
There
a
does
fan
seem
of
to there
this
does seem to be a
era,
lot. Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of content here, albeit a lot of it is likely procedurally generated.
Mhm.
Your adventure in Veterum can certainly go on for a while.
Indeed. All right, then. So it sounds like that is the end of the impressions here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So be sure to tune in after the break as we deliver impressions on Belts of Iron.